Well, good evening and welcome to the Ask Dr. Jenny show. We are coming to you live and we are appreciating the fact that you're taking time to come and join us. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how to get better sleep. I don't know if you're like me. For a while there, I definitely wasn't getting a lot of sleep. I was just spending way too much time on the computer. That was my problem. And doing things and getting a couple hours sleep. And I'll tell you what, it ran me down a lot. So I just want to welcome you. We are streaming on Facebook. We are streaming as well on Roku, on Amazon Fire TV, as well as Apple and Android TV. If you would like to watch us on your smart TV, you can download the E360 TV application and watch us there as well. You can go to the website, www.lwnfoundation.org. Hit that live stream tab and you can watch us. That'll take you to YouTube. So tonight we are talking with Dr. Jenny. We'll bring her in and we'll be talking with her in just a minute. If you've got some questions this evening, I want you to go ahead. You can put them in the comments if you're watching on Facebook. And if you would like, if you have a comment or a question or just whatever you have, just let us know. We'll try and get to your questions here very shortly. And tonight we are talking about sleep. We're talking about, what might be keeping you up at night. Things like, well, I said it, technology and your lifestyle. They all play factors here, and it could be a hormone imbalance as well. So there's a lot of factors. We're going to be talking about that. Let's bring Dr. Jenny in, and I say, welcome to Dr. Jenny. Hello,
Hi.
Dr. Jenny. How are you?
How are you? Happy hump day.
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
I don't have my headphones today. I've been moving.
That's okay. We'll struggle through it. It's okay if there's some audio feedback. I mean, I'm using a new microphone system here. I've turned my computer down. It's a learning curve. It's live TV. Things can happen. We're just going to do our best. We're hoping that the sound is good. We're hoping that we're not getting feedback as well, because I need to be able to hear Dr. Jenny, and I just don't have those, studio mic headphones so that I can know what's going on. We'll do our best. So, welcome. You've been busy lately. That's what I understand.
Super busy. I got lots of projects up my sleeve, trying to build and grow, and I've been moving all the businesses. So yeah, it's hard to sleep and turn off my mind. So this is a great topic because I have one of those minds that does not turn off. So I've mastered the biochemical pathways and how to get recuperative, regenerative sleep.
Wow. I just got to turn the sound up because I was just having a hard time hearing you. Let me just do that a little bit. Hopefully there's not going to create feedback here. We'll be checking that. So tonight we're talking about sleep. We're talking about sleep disorders. We're talking about how to get good sleep. Let's just start with, how many hours a night of sleep should an average person get, Dr. Jenny?
8 hours is a really good quality sleep. So if some people, I say 6 to 7 is tolerable, but a good 8 hours, that is really, really good. But there are some people that can't sleep, Stephen, that get 8 hours, but they don't get the regenerative sleep. They toss, they turn, they wake up, One of the most common things that my customers and doctors are sending me referrals on patients that can't sleep is they go to sleep. There's different types of insomnia. So they can fall asleep, but then they wake up a couple hours later. Or they can't fall asleep. And then when they do fall asleep, it's tossing and turning. But yeah, if someone's waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning after having gone to sleep, that's a sign that it's hormonal. And it's usually the adrenal glands. And I'm always testing for cortisol, for the cortisol levels in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and seeing what their natural circadian rhythm is doing. So I do a lot of investigative work when it comes to sleep, because there's lots of different chemicals that are associated with sleep, and everybody's biochemically unique, and finding why someone can't turn their brain off and why their body is not being recharged while they're sleeping. That's a lot of fun work. So functional medicine is not just cookie cutter, and especially when it comes to sleep. And if you're not sleeping, you're not regenerating. And if you're not regenerating, your body's getting weaker. You're going to be prone to getting more infections. You're going to be prone to getting a cold or a virus, right, like COVID. And you're going to be prone to psychological warfare. I mean, not sleeping is, they use that in warfare. That's how they'll torture, you by not sleeping. And sleeping is an epidemic right now. There's a lot of insomniacs in the United States.
I'm back.
How are you laughing over?
So I'm just wondering too. We can just ask the viewers. I don't know. We're learning. It's a learning curve here. I'm trying to get better all the time. I've got the mic set up now, but I tell you what, I don't know whether we're picking up Dr. Jenny in the background or not. We're trying to find out whether that's working or not. I'll look at the comments. I'm going to try and run all of this at one time, but I know for myself, I got really run down. I really did when I didn't get enough sleep. And, I thought that I was doing the right thing because I was getting a lot done. But what I was finding myself is just getting to the point of exhaustion. And so that does happen. Is that also a result of a lack of fluids and not staying hydrated as well?
Feeling run down?
Yeah, staying up too late, maybe not drinking enough water, and then just feeling exhausted where I close my eyes and it's like, bam, I'd be out, really quick, really quick.
Yeah, it's good to be exhausted, our bodies are designed to do stuff, to not be stationary. And I think as Americans, we tend to be the land of the obese and inflamed, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
something can be a block away and we still get in the car to go there. You go to Europe, people are actually walking or running to the gym. Over here, you're taking your car to go to the gym. I tell people, try to walk for at least an hour a day somewhere. We're right here on the main street. I walk to the restaurants. I'll walk to my bank. Everything is, within a block, 2 blocks distance. I won't hop in my car. I'm going to go and walk and get my body moving. It
Get
helps
some exercise.
you exhausted, right? And then that way, when you do fall asleep, your body's able to recharge and plug. So, but taking supplements also to regenerate and get rid of that exhaustion as well. So, but do you sleep deeply? When you're asleep, do you sleep deeply? And a good way of gauging whether you're getting regenerative sleep is if you're dreaming. And a majority of the people that I see, they don't dream. They're like, I don't think I've dreamt since I was a teenager. I couldn't tell you the last dream that I had. I dream every single day. And they're like motion pictures. They're not just like, oh, I ate a pillow and I woke up, it's like, oh, there's a pillow in my mouth. Not that kind of dream. You call them the pizza dreams or the feather dreams or whatever they're calling them, right? No, mine are dreams. Like I'm having adventures. I'm, hiking through the jungle. I'm like some superhero, or I'm flying through the air and I'm battling, bad guys. Like it's an actual movie.
Yeah. Real life type.
Yeah,
Dreams,
and that's
right?
the way your body when you're dreaming, your body's processing all of that stuff, and you're in a sense you're in a spiritual realm where you're making sense of family, friends, business, children, personal life. So it is so important to dream. So my goal when I'm seeing patients and I'm educating other doctors on how to gauge if someone's getting good. Like, how are they dreaming? Are they dreaming in black and white, or are they dreaming in color? Because there's a lot of science to that too. You know?
Tell us about that. What's the deal? I mean, I thought about it before, but I'm not sure. I think it's black and white.
I'm analyzing you now. I won't judge. If you
Okay, let's use me as a guinea pig. That's fine.
Remember that movie Pleasantville? I think it was called Pleasantville with Reese Witherspoon, and everything was in black and white. And
Okay.
as she woke up and things started to start becoming colorful. Like it would be the poodle skirt, or it would be her hair, or somebody's eyes, and she was like, oh, "There's color." I think it's like I'm very spiritual. I'm not religious. I'm not a big fan of organized religion, right? I think that separates people, but I'm spiritual, and I love to get other people to be spiritual as well, to recognize that there is a deity higher than us, that this is so magnificent. And then once you're awake and you realize how magnificent God is, you start seeing life in color. And there's a lot of people, I call them the walking dead zombies, because they don't sleep. Their pineal gland gets calcified. And there's different things that calcify that pineal gland, and that inhibits them from getting that deep regenerative sleep, and that sleep that causes you to dream in color, like vibrant color, even more colorful than real life, right? And then I have people that tell me, no, I dream in black and white. And once they start dreaming in color, I mean, their relationships are getting better. They're having better sex. They become more spiritual, more aware. So it's fun to decalcify that pineal gland and get people dreaming in color.
I need to dream in color. I need to pay attention to whether it's in color or black and white. I know that sometimes I just wake up and they're really real.
Keep a dream log. I always recommend keeping a log of your dreams.
Okay.
So if you even wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and have a night, like either a tremor or a nightmare or anything, you write it down right away. Otherwise, you forget, because you have these hormones that are released that make you forget your dreams. But if you document it the moment you wake up, I document all my dreams, and it's amazing. Yep. But I also take my supplements. It's very hard for me to shut my brain down. I'm always thinking. I'm like a little kid at Christmas time. It's like, no, I'm going to stay awake all night waiting for Santa.
Well, I'm going to start a dream log. So that's a great suggestion. And because there are messages there. Now, I know I read a book a long time ago about dreams, but I hadn't done that in a minute. But what are some of these ramifications then? If we're not getting enough sleep, does that affect our dream state? And how does the dream state relate to the cycles of sleep that a person goes through?
Well, it's been suggested with multiple different studies. They have, clinical, research that shows that dreams can be crucial to our emotional and mental health, and it could be a means of which we solve problems, we deal with emotions, and we deal with thoughts. It's a way for us to process life. I mean, the pineal gland is our consciousness, right? And it is proof. I mean, they've actually shown that dreams, you have astrophysicists and quantum, I have friends that are physicists and talk about all of these different theories and dimensions, and dreaming is a form of a dimension. They're trying to make sense of it, where it's like we're conscious beings, we're spiritual beings, and this is a car that a spirit has taken host of. Like, we're literally driving this car. It's a blessing. So making sure that we, our windows, right, when we're driving, are clear. We want to make sure we're constantly maintaining our vehicles so that we can see. And that pineal gland, and a lot of religions recognize it as the third eye. You have different religions that say, oh, that's the third eye, but in medicine, it's called a pineal gland. And it is so important, for our psychological state to dream and have those thoughts and play out roles. And we make better decisions when we dream, right? Because we have that consciousness. Let your conscious be your guide. What is consciousness? What does that mean, to be conscious? Right? That I think, therefore I am.
Right. Well, it's certainly in an awake state, would it not be?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
being truly awake, what does it mean to be truly awake?
But there's different levels of it, right? Because I know that like in the morning, they say that in the morning and the evening, just as you're about to go to sleep, and maybe that's that stage, one of those stages in the sleep, that your mind's most receptive. And those are the best times to start working on putting new information if you're trying to get into a new habit, to practice that stuff. I'd like to go to some of the comments. I'd like to say thank you to everybody that's taken time to come and join us. If you happen to be watching on Facebook, I'd love for you to share this video out. Share it to the friends. Share it to you, the groups that you belong to. I'd love for you to go to the website too. Check out that live stream tab, lwnfoundation.org, and go to YouTube. We need you to subscribe as well, the LWN Foundation. We do, Randy? I got my brother here with us. Do we have some comments or questions?
We don't have any questions yet, folks. Feel free to ask Dr. Jenny a question, or if you have a comment, please use the comment section.
There we are. What are you thinking? Are you getting enough sleep? Looks like we might have lost Dr. Jenny for half. Oh, there she is. I want to ask the viewers, are you getting enough sleep, or are you staying up? Are you only operating on a few hours of sleep? How do you feel if you're only getting a few hours sleep? Are you getting exhausted? I know that for myself, I had to say, hey, look, I couldn't function properly in my job. So if we want to be at our top level, we've got to take care of ourselves. And that's what this is all about on Health and Wellness Wednesday. And ask Dr. Jenny, and she's going to give us some great information about the things that we can do to make sure that we take care of ourselves. Now, if a person is having trouble going to sleep, Dr. Jenny, what would you recommend for that?
Well, there's certain chemicals, and I usually start with neurotransmitters and amino acids. I'm telling my customers, let's do a neurotransmitter and a hormone panel, and let's see what chemicals neurologically that you're lacking. And once I see those, then we're able to customize a sleep medication for that person. So L-theanine, for example, is an amino acid that helps to regulate and improve the quality of sleep. It's not a sedative, but it can improve the quality of sleep by reducing anxiety and promoting relaxation as needed to initiate a higher quality of sleep. But not everybody is deficient in L-theanine. So, and when someone is deficient in L-theanine, I recommend 200 milligrams before bed, and it improves their sleep, and it doesn't cause drowsiness. Like, you have these medications like Nesta, Valium, Ativan, all these toxic neuropsychiatric medications that mainstream practitioners are taught to prescribe that damage the third eye even more. So it temporarily works, but the quality of sleep that they're getting when they're taking these medications, Stephen, is not real sleep. Like Benadryl makes you sleepy, right? These are sleep aids, it makes you sleepy. Or this NyQuil, right? I mean, they're using alcohol to knock you out, and that's not healthy. You're degenerating brain cells. You're messing with that motherboard. So you want to stick to these natural chemicals. Another one is CBD, for example. Now, CBD is used in general to address anxiety and for patients who suffer through misery of insomnia. Now, lately, I've been giving everybody with insomnia some CBD, like a full spectrum CBD, and all the studies show that it helps both with falling asleep and then staying asleep, which is amazing. And then it's also treating like inflammation with chronic pain. It's boosting your immune system. It's causing your brain cells to, develop and get stronger in those synaptic nerve endings, because if you're not in pain, a lot of people can't sleep because they're in pain, especially my elderly clientele. They have osteoporosis, they have fibromyalgia, they have other issues. And then people that have been in car accidents, or someone that has migraines. I mean, so now you're addressing a whole bunch of different things. So then you're calming the body down with the CBD, the cannabinoids, and that's the non-psychoactive chemical in the marijuana plant. That's one of my favorites, both L-theanine, and sometimes I'll combine L-theanine with CBD in a capsule for somebody, or I'll make it into an oil. And my other one that I most commonly prescribe as well, that's been clinically researched, is L-glycine. L-glycine, very much like L-theanine, is the smallest of amino acids. Now, amino acids are the building blocks to everything. We wouldn't have life if there was no amino acids, right? So, I mean, there are thousands of amino acids essential, the non-essential, the conditionally essential amino acids, that L-glycine tastes like sugar. So somebody that is hypoglycemic or diabetic, they're deficient in this chemical that tastes like sugar, and it regulates glucose. So you have healthy sugar pathway. It's calming you down. Been clinically studied, and you take it right before you go to bed, and it helps you to enhance your sleep, but it also increases the quality, and it lessens that daytime sleepiness. Sleepiness improves cognition. So amino acids in general are cognitive chemicals, right? So it makes your brain stronger, and it's in that same chemical pathway for like glutathione and like oxidative stress, so it makes your brain younger. And who doesn't want a younger brain? People forget this is a
I
muscle.
want a younger brain.
Right. Exercise your brain. Don't be a crazy person. It's like,
I wanted to
why
back up for just a second though. This L-glycine, is that something that people should be taking on a regular basis?
Yep, 3,000 milligrams is what I recommend right before bed. So taking 3,000 milligrams right before bed. It's in a powder form. You mix it with water. It's like a little shot glass, and it tastes like sugar, and it puts you to sleep. And it's when you have problems falling asleep, that's when you would take it. So it's one of my favorites, and it gets rid of all of that restless leg. Sometimes people can't go to sleep because their legs are so restless, right? The elderly usually have that problem. So this L-glycine is phenomenal for going to sleep and staying asleep without that drowsiness the next day, where you can still wake up. You're not like your eyes are glued shut because you gave yourself, you know, a drug that glues your eyes shut. And another one that I really like is a amino acid called GABA. So you see why I do the clinical testing, Stephen? It's so important to test, because if you don't test, you're kind of just throwing darts. And I do have a product that has all of them in there together, and they work really, really well. But if you want to know specifically where the degeneration is happening, you know, whether it's due from old age, or if it's endocrine related, whether it's cannabinoid related, whether it's energy production related, I do a neurotransmitter test to see, and an amino acid test to see where the levels are. GABA is another supplement. I make a supplement called GABA Dream, and I have that over the counter. But low GABA activity is linked to insomnia. So when someone has constant disruptive sleep, I give them that. So GABA levels in people with insomnia were almost like 30% lower than in people without the sleep disorder. So there's lots of studies to support GABA amino. And insomnia, Stephen, hits about 68% of our population. So there's another pandemic right there. People aren't sleeping, which equates to crankiness, neuropsychiatric disorders, and people that aren't sleeping are not going to be productive as when you're getting sleep. I mean, it'll affect your love life. It'll affect, right, how you perform in bed. So who wants that, right? Sex makes the world go round. It'll affect.
Well, having a good love life might just affect the amount of sleep we're getting, wouldn't it? Okay, but maybe that's good because we're burning calories and all that good stuff too, as well, right? I mean, I know you like talking about sex. I know that's fun. So what would our discussions be if we weren't talking a little bit of sex, right?
So it's a metabolic orchestra. Everything is connected together. It's like you have to, because it does. Sleep affects your mood. I mean, mommies that don't get any sleep, these are the mommies that go crazy and put their babies in the freezer. And you hear this, it's like their brain literally fails them. It's like, we don't need psychotic moms out there that are killing their kids because they're not getting sleep, right? They have the postpartum depression because they don't have that hormonal support. And how often, I'm a mom of 4, never ever have my doctors, my OBGYNs, you know, after having a baby, they do the follow-up with the lady bits, right? But they never ask, how are you sleeping? Do you have postpartum depression? What are you feeling? You know, it's like these are questions that doctors should ask. I mean, it should be considered malpractice not to ask these questions in females. If you're not sleeping well, okay, let's get you on a regimen with these different chemicals that make mommy sleep well, right? So they can be a better mom. And even, you know,
Right.
mommies, soccer moms that are going, and then they get so exhausted where they can't fall asleep because they're just they're run down. They have a physical exhaustion, but their brain is still going, right?
That's what I wanted to talk about too, because sometimes you can't go to sleep because your mind is just racing. That's certainly part of it. What do you recommend for people that are going and they're laying down and it's like, oh, I lay there for hours and I just can't fall asleep? What would you recommend for people that are having that type of problem?
CBD, 200 milligrams of CBD right before you go to bed.
CBD.
It will
Right.
just turn off that light switch. So it is really that receptor going whoop, on and off switch. And that full spectrum CBD oil, which we have that on our website, people can get that. I've had several customers text me today saying, I have not had a good night's sleep since you gave me that CBD oil. You literally rescued me. I had a technician that works for me that wasn't sleeping. And finally, she's like, please help me. I can't sleep. She's 23 years old, you know? But kids, you mess with your sleep cycle when you're drinking, when you're out partying, if you're staying up late and you're thinking you're having a good time in the evenings and you're messing with that adrenal gland and your hormones, and they forget to regenerate. It's all about functional medicines, making sure that you're putting back in your body what your lifestyle stole or what, you know, other different factors took away from you. So I recommend a full spectrum CBD oil for people that can't turn their brains off. That's me. I take CBD oil pretty much on a nightly basis because I have too much. My brain is so busy. You know, I have four
Yes.
kids, and they all have needs. And I'm a very attentive daughter, you know, and an attentive, I think, boss. And I'm always in creative mode, and I just can't. I'm always just busy in my head. And so I'm like, okay, CBD. Otherwise, I'll be up all night long folding little baby socks for my fight, you know, and I have thousands of those socks. And I'm like, I need to get it done, you know, and I'm like, no, I need to go to sleep. So I take that dropper full of that CBD oil, put it underneath my tongue, hold it for an entire minute, lay in bed, get rid of your electronic devices because light blocks melatonin. And melatonin is essential. You want that melatonin to be naturally released for when you're going to sleep. And melatonin is one of those other amino acids. It's an amino acid that helps you also to calm down. It reduces your body temperature, it puts you in that sedative mode, right? And also the
Now, how do you? I just wanted to interrupt for a quick sec. How is the melatonin something that you can just get at the store? Or is this something that's prescribed?
Nope, I have melatonin in my store, in our shopping cart online, and I put it in a spray form. Now, there are people that like it in a capsule form, but it takes longer when you're swallowing a pill for melatonin and you're having to go through gut degradation and all of that. So I do underneath the tongue. Oral mucosa is a really great delivery mechanism for triggering receptors neurologically. And that melatonin you can spray underneath the tongue, 5 milligrams of that right before you go to bed. Same thing. It's super calming. Some people even use it for weight loss if you take too much, but that'll be another segment.
That's okay. Now, you mentioned about hormones earlier, and I like to kind of go back and address that. How does a hormone imbalance affect your sleep?
So the hormone that's like the female value, and even men are deficient in it as well. I look at progesterone levels in men and in women. So when someone has difficulty going to sleep, I'll look at progesterone and magnesium. But progesterone, like I said, if your woman is an insomniac and her eye is twitching and she's one of the 7 dwarfs of menopause, meaning she's a nasty witch, right? Check her progesterone
Okay.
levels because that progesterone makes her into the good witch, not the bad witch. and it calms her down. Her periods are super smooth, and she's sleeping so well. And also another one that's associated with restless leg syndrome, and with men, it helps them to sleep as well too. But it also shrinks that prostate, keeps the prostate super super small, because men need super small prostates, right?
Yeah, I think I need to do more checking too, and I think that that's an important factor as well, because I mean I haven't done a lot of testing. I just have been taking several of your products, but I'm not taking time to really know what I should do exactly. And so maybe you can tell the viewers about how is it best approached. What is the best thing to do to make sure that you're taking the things that you should be taking based on your situation?
Yeah, the best approach is obviously to get tested. I always recommend start with the hormones, because progesterone helps in increasing the natural GABA. We went through the GABA amino acid, right, that helps with that sleep and that insomnia. And all the sleep studies and the research shows that uh, people that are insomniacs have 30% lower levels of GABA, and if progesterone naturally helps you produce that, start there and then do the CBD, because most likely the combination of the progesterone and the GABA is going to give you, the good quality of sleep that you need. And then if those levels, if you still have a little bit of underlying insomnia, then, look at the theanine, look at the L-glycine, look at magnesium, and
Okay.
then work there. Like I said, I do have that GABA dream that I make.
Okay.
Yep, and that GABA has the theanine, the melatonin, it's got the magnesium. So I have the good ratios of all of them. So it usually works for everybody. Because I formulated, like, let's make a sleep supplement that everybody will benefit from. The only thing it doesn't have is progesterone, and progesterone, you need a prescription for it. So,
And this is the point, so that if your viewers don't know, that Dr. Jenny actually is a naturopath. She was actually voted Naturopath of the Year 2019 by the Association of Top Professionals. And so she is not only just a naturopath doctor, but she's as well a chemist and a pharmacist. So she compounds these products that she's talking about as well in her wellness center right here in Sarasota, Florida. And she's right down on Main Street. And so she can make things specifically for an individual based on your situation, and has a lot of stuff over the counter as well. And so if you're trying to, improve your health, then that's what we want you to do. I mean, that's what I've tried to do myself. For many years, I just neglected myself from the standpoint of a lot of bad habits. I had to get rid of a lot of bad habits. I know that I have a sugar thing I need to deal with one of these days, but I'm trying to get myself more healthy, and just the awareness of saying I want to get more healthy, it takes the next step, takes action. So we can help you with that, because we want you to become the best you can possibly be. So we need to take care of our minds, our bodies, and our souls. Dr. Jenny is such a dynamic individual. I mean, doctors bring her in to educate them about this stuff. So if you have a question, or you're wondering how you might get more information, reach out to us. Send us a message. Um, we're here to help you. That's why we do this show. We're here to educate, and inform and support and be there for you, so that you can get healthy in mind, body, and soul. And you made that mention earlier about the spiritual aspect of it, the thinking aspect of it, and that connection to that, a dream world as well. Because I think that there's a huge awakening going on, spiritually speaking, and right now, so important, because there's so much division going on, right, Dr. Jenny?
you're right. And, sleep deprivation is detrimental to your health. You have to get that circadian rhythm, which is that 24-hour repeating rhythm process. And there's so many different factors that affect your sleep. I mean, we have different hours, we have chemicals, again, suppressing the pineal gland, which is the third eye. And so if we live in a toxic country where there's so many different obstacles, because we're not going to give up our microwaves, we're not going to give up our cell phones or the laptops or computers, all of this stuff, little mini, waves of, radiation. I mean, with the 5G, that's coming out. I mean, there's so much
Right.
that affects that. So we need to make sure that we know how to control that rhythm first and how to improve our sleep. And I mean, I just gave free information. I charge people to come in to sleep consultations. I charge $250 for somebody to come in for me to just tell what I just gave here for free. How to improve it, because everybody needs improved sleep. I can tell, like I said, I see walking zombies everywhere. They have circles under their eyes because they're not sleeping. I saw a really good question here from Yvonne. What sleep aids, what foods are good before bed, to go to sleep. I usually stick with foods that are high in tryptophan, like milk, for example, drinking a glass of milk. Those are like old wives' tales, like a good glass of whole milk right before you go to bed. If you have to eat for protein, I recommend eating some turkey, because turkey produces tryptophan. That's why everybody gets sleepy right after Thanksgiving dinner. It's not all the sugar, it's the turkey that they're eating, because it's loaded in tryptophan. And tryptophan converts into 5-HTP, and then 5-HTP into serotonin, and then serotonin into 5-HIA. And eventually that 5-HIA releases that melatonin and that growth hormone, where you're going to be in super regenerative mode. And your body needs all of those regenerative amino acids so you can fall asleep. So you want to avoid foods that give you all of this like cellular energy. You want to be able to fall asleep. So lots of chemicals that make you fall asleep, but tryptophan is in that chemical pathway. These are natural things that you can do. And dimming your lights down too. Lots of people leave their lights on, they're playing on their cell phones, and again, that blocks melatonin. You don't want to do that.
So that was an appropriate question by Yvonne. Randy, can you read that question for us? I don't know that I saw that.
Yvonne Collins asked, what sleep aids do you recommend with foods are good before bed?
And I wanted to get to the foods thing. So that's very appropriate timing. And what are the best foods right before? I mean, I think I missed something here. I did, because I was saying,
I might have, I don't know if you were able to hear me,
Are there specific ones that are better than others?
Oh yeah, the foods that produce tryptophan, the foods that are in the same chemical, like chamomile tea, like I was talking about milk and turkey. Did you hear all of that, or did you cut out?
So right, that warm milk, and I heard you say that the warm milk is just a wives' tale. That's not really
Even
important.
kiwi, like if you have to eat food, kiwi, produces that melatonin and it's super calming. But chamomile tea is a popular herbal tea that helps, calm you down, and it's loaded with L-theanine. Almonds, for example, too, are loaded with L-tryptophan and L-glycine, and those are chemicals that I was mentioning way in the beginning, right? CBD, theanine, L-theanine, L-glycine, full spectrum CBD, progesterone, and GABA and magnesium. So those are all the chemicals. Melatonin, but things can naturally convert into melatonin. So eating walnuts right before bed can help too. Passion flower tea is loaded with L-glycine. So you see how these foods are loaded with the chemicals that we discussed in the beginning. A glass of milk.
So it's really hard to get good food just from, unless you're really paying attention to what you're buying in the market. And maybe this is where like places like Whole Foods and Detweiler's here in Sarasota make a huge difference, because it doesn't have all that chemical stuff. And that's what we want to avoid, right? Is all these chemicals and preservatives and stuff in our food, right?
Yep, that's right. Avoiding these toxic processed foods. There's foods that can mess with your pineal gland, right? And calcifies your pineal gland.
I want you to explain this pineal gland. I'm trying to understand that. How so is that in front? That's near our hypothalamus. Is it correct? In our front brain?
The right ear, the third eye. So in the middle of your forehead,
Third eye?
there's a gland. Yep, but right there, that third eye.
Okay. And it does what? So that I can learn.
Oh, your pineal gland is your consciousness. Your pineal gland is how you process life. That's your awareness. And it's the baby in your belly. Babies develop a pineal gland 34 days after conception. Take that to all of the, pro-choice people with all of their, women's choice. You just live a conscious life. And we have all the medical studies to support it. It's like, you have a pineal gland, you're a conscious being. You're aware, whether you're a tiny little seedling.
Right.
It's amazing. Life is so beautiful, because if we found a 34-day-old, baby up on Mars, we wouldn't be killing it, would we? Not to get political, Stephen.
I don't want to get political at all. I try and avoid it a lot. I have to struggle with some people over the politics thing. Yeah, I'll name him.
What do you say?
My brother, he's very politically driven, aren't you, Randy?
You can have me to be the political one.
Randy, aren't you politically driven?
Behind the scenes there, right?
I'm more interested in listening to Dr. Jenny's advice because it's much more interesting than anything I have to say about politics.
I agree. Exactly. Politics. That's driving us apart. That's making people lose sleep.
Yep. Well, like I said, the pineal gland is what regulates our sleep. Yeah. It regulates our hormones like melatonin, but it's our consciousness. It helps us to be aware of who we are, what we are, and if that is being decalcified, we don't have a sense of us. People get depressed. People get angry. Their emotions are all over the place, and that's just sad. We want people to be able to. I want people to be happy. Like, take a dose of happiness. People ask me why I'm so happy all the time. I take really good care of my pineal gland. I don't want to be a zombie, right?
So when people like gratitude, they make gratitude lists, and I recommend that if you're not happy, the quickest way back to happiness, I think, is to start writing a gratitude list and thinking about the things that you're grateful for. And I was just talking about this earlier, and it's like, some people could probably say, I'm not happy about anything. But the thing is that when you think about it, you can be happy. Well, you're alive. I always like to start with you're alive. Well, I'm not happy that I'm alive, they might say, but I'd say, hey, look, let's start with, okay, well, did you have something to eat today? Yes. It's like, do you have $1 in your pocket? And it's like, if you have $1 in your pocket, you're ahead of the game. It doesn't matter. It's the small stuff. That's my point. But how does this pineal gland connect with this gratitude, which releases, I believe, serotonin? Is that correct?
Yeah,
and stimulates your happiness, and then all of a sudden you're feeling better.
Yeah. So if that's calcified, you're not releasing that melatonin, and melatonin is an antioxidant. It's going to help you to regenerate tissue. It's going to help you to recharge, like iPhones, right? You got to plug it in. And if the wire is broken, that iPhone is gonna not work,
yeah.
right?
I think we've got a comment here. Let's go to the comment. Randy, someone's got an interesting comment. Would you please tell us about that?
Hey, Dr. Jenny. Dorothy Sharkey Kirsch wants to know if some sleep aids cause anxiety or suicidal thoughts.
Absolutely. 100%. These are toxic. There's a book called Toxic Psychiatry. I know I mentioned it before. And it does. These sleep aids are actually damaging. We mentioned this in the beginning of the segment, right? It damages the prefrontal cortex. It damages the basal ganglia. It damages and calcifies that pineal gland. It's a Band-Aid for a voodoo. So the last thing you want to do is damage your brain even more to where now, okay, now you have insomnia, and now you have insomnia with suicidal thoughts. That's not good.
That's excellent advice. Excellent advice. Randy, you have a question?
Dr. Jenny, can you name some of the sleep aids that you don't recommend people use? Melatonin obviously is safe. What are the things that are unsafe?
Well, you have Halcyon, which is triazolam. You have Restorol, which is temazepam. You have Sonata, which is the Zapoleon. You have Ambien, and that comes in multiple, different names. Big Pharma, pops out all of these. Ambien, Lunesta. And I mean, just look at the commercials. Ask your doctor if taking Ambien is good for you. Side effects include suicidal thoughts,
Right.
mania, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, dementia, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why would anybody take that? Why would you take something that makes you want to kill yourself? Oh,
Anymore, you see these commercials, and there's more about the side effects than there is about the actual medications. And it's like, how could that possibly be good or safe? And you know what gets me, Dr. Jenny, is that they always say this. They always go, well, if you're allergic to these ingredients, then you might not want to take it. Well, how would you know if you're going to be allergic if you've never taken it before? I mean, come on.
Everybody's allergic to it. If it causes damage to your cells, you're allergic to it. Anything that degenerates cells is an allergic reaction. That means it's killing off the life that's you. Anything that takes away the oxygen supply that's killing cells neurologically or in your body that's degenerating, that's an allergic reaction. Doesn't have to be an allergic reaction, doesn't have to be anaphylactic or you can't breathe. You're literally causing your cells to die faster. You are killing off your brain cells. That's why these side effects are suicide. You're causing this mainframe, this beautiful brain. The brain is so precious. Alzheimer's, dementia. You look at our nursing homes. We shouldn't have nursing homes.
Right.
But they have people so drugged up on their Ativan, on their lorazepam, on their Valium, on their Ambien, and all of these drugs degenerate our mainframe.
Well, there's alternatives. That's the point here. There's many different types of alternatives that are natural. That's what you do. You help people with natural things that don't have a bunch of chemicals in them. Hopefully, Dorothy, that answers your question with respect to this stuff. Yes, it can obviously seriously mess you up. So we want to try and stay away from that.
Avoid the antidepressants. Yes. Avoid the benzodiazepines. And they'll cause night tremors. I mean, they will make you sleepwalk. Oh, yeah. Who wants to sleepwalking from taking benzos like Restorol?
Okay.
And Halcyon. And they give it to children. Social service
counselors. Stuff, as I recall.
Children. What was that?
Halcyon. Apparently, like, isn't it an antipsychotic?
Yeah. But they prescribe it for people to go to sleep.
Well, I'm wondering this. If you don't dream, what's going on with that? Or is it just that you're not remembering the dreams?
No. If you're not dreaming, that means you don't have those chemical reactions with your pineal gland, that melatonin, and your body's not regenerating. Sleep equals regeneration. That means your plug for your iPhone works. It's not broken. It's taking a charge. So our brains are the same way. We have a connection in the spiritual realm to recharge. We have to be plugged in order to regenerate our brain cells. So we need to sleep. Sleep is so beneficial. And a lot of what's going on in society, our neuropsychiatric disorders, are from a lack of sleep.
Okay. So if you're not dreaming, correct me if I'm wrong here. So if you're not dreaming, it's because you're probably not getting into that REM sleep. Would that be correct?
Right. You're not
As
you're
well?
not REM cycle. Yep.
Yeah. Because that's where the
Right.
dreaming goes on, doesn't it? Or not
Yeah.
completely?
When you're REM cycling, you're dreaming. You have that rapid eye movements.
Okay.
You're dreaming about life. You're processing everything. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I just looked up. I wanted to look up. I went straight to like the big pharmaceutical, pharmacodynamics of a drug.
Okay.
One of the commercials that I just saw on Lunesta is like the most popular right now for sleeping. And it says, okay, these are the immediate side effects is dry mouth. Side effects include dry mouth, unpleasant taste on the tongue, typical bitter or metallic. Oh yeah, you know what that's doing. Drowsiness with difficulty waking up in the morning, headaches, dizziness, cold-like symptoms such as a runny nose, a cough, ongoing grogginess the next day. Also includes behavior issues such as aggression, confusion, hallucination, severe depression or suicidal thoughts, memory loss, insomnia, Boltzmann, or sleepwalking. Ask your doctor if Lunesta is right for you. I'm reading it straight from the website.
I tell you, so yeah, it's
It's
just,
destroying the brain. It's destroying your immune system. They admit it right there because it causes you to have a runny nose and a
right.
sore throat. I want
Well,
something
so this,
COVID, please.
well, and this is why we're doing this, folks, is that we want you to know that there's alternatives to these other types of drugs that have all these chemicals and all this really bad stuff in it that really messes us up. It messes our brain up, affects us in our sleep. We've only got a couple minutes here left now, but I want to just hit really quickly if you'll talk about the computer thing, because so many people, I mean, it now because of the COVID, people are on the computer a lot more, I think, than they were. How is technology playing a factor in sleep and or not getting enough sleep? We kind of sort of talked that, but tell us about that.
So it is. You know, technology.
Well, I think that we were having some audio issues there. I think that this is an important factor here. Maybe we can just try that again, Dr. Jenny. Try and tell us about, is there the radiation? What's going on with this computer stuff, right? Oh, it looks like we've lost Dr. Jenny temporarily. Okay, well, these things happen. Welcome to live TV. Oh, yeah, that made me cough. Okay. So I want to just say thank you to everybody. Thank you, Dr. Jenny, for coming tonight. That was so awesome. Great information. We do this every Wednesday, by the way. We start at 7:03 p.m. We are live on Facebook. We're live on Roku and Amazon Fire and Apple TV, Android TV, our website, YouTube. We want you to just check out these other places, too, that you can do it. We certainly want you, if you haven't done it on Facebook, like us on our Facebook page, the LWN Foundation. Join us every Wednesday for the Ask Dr. Jenny show. We've got some great topics coming up next week. We also have on Monday morning, 7 a.m., the Sunrise Daybreakers, and we're welcoming in a brand new day. That's at 7 a.m. on the Roku and the smart TV applications. I'm here every weekday, about let's just say between 6:15 and 6:30. I'm coming on live on Facebook. And we're welcoming in a brand new day every morning to make that connection to nature, to make that connection to source and community. And the community is, in fact, you. I understand that we do have Dr. Jenny back in. I want you to join us. And then on Monday evenings at 7, we have the Get to Know Show. Next week, you've got to join us, please. Absolutely. We've got Shannon McVeigh from Awaken Atlanta. It's going to be one powerful show. I tell you what, we've got some great guests coming up. Please come back. We want you to do that. If you're watching Facebook, share it out. Go to the LWNFoundation.org website. Send us a direct message if you want more information about how to do this. Dr. Jenny, I'm going to let you close us out. And we've got about 1 minute, not a whole lot, but just close us out, Dr. Jenny.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I completely lost you. And I was going to say, I'm so passionate about people getting good sleep. If they go to my website and do the telemedicine consult and schedule, I'll do free consults for the rest of the month. Talk about sleep and then get you on the right product based on your sleep patterns for lack of, right? So you can get a free 10-minute consultation with yours truly. But yeah, as usual, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Be kind to one another. Start limiting the amount of time that you're spending on electronics because it does disturb your sleep and it's equal to cocaine. All the studies that Harvard University did on sleeping and electronics and with children, they're more likely. People that spend hours and hours on their iPhones and their iPads and computer are more likely to be depressed because they're constantly getting that dopamine, right? And
that's it. Stay off the computers, just not doing it all day long. Get your rest, everybody. We've run out of time, but I thank everybody for coming and joining us. Tell your friends about this. Dr. Jenny, thank you so very much for joining us again. We'll see you all next Wednesday. We're going to say goodbye. We love you. We care about you. And we want you to become the best you can possibly be. So join us every Wednesday at the same time. Take care. God bless you. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you, Dr. Jenny.
Of course.